All, all right, we're back for another analysis video. Um, Today was the August quads at the Boylston Chess Club. The quads are a Game 65 Delay 10 tournament where you are in groups of 4 and you play everyone else in your quad in a single round robin format. This was the first time that I was playing a quads tournament at this level. Um, they're using the new ratings now, and so they're using 1566 as my rating, which put me above where I would have been playing beforehand. Um, and so yeah, so this is the quads tournament, and let's look at the games. Our first game was against Aiden Admadjaja. We had a Caro, a Tartakawa Caro, all mainline stuff. Um, this is funny actually because the game I played on Tuesday was also like this, almost this exact position. Um, and so I was like, all right, I'm gonna use what I learned from the Tuesday game and figure out what to do. So I went, Queen 7 and Rook E8 this time faster. But what I was a fan of the C5 B6 Bishop B7 maneuver that I had made in the game on Tuesday. So I repeated that C5 B6. Um, Doing Rook A1 here, just defending the knight in case this bishop gets kicked out. The knight would hang. But it doesn't actually hang. Funny enough. Like I should say he like here instead. And if I push C4, you actually can go here. And then the bishop can come back here to defend. Which is fascinating. But I just don't win the knight, even though it's completely cut off. Because of bishop 3. I mean, it's fine because I had to put my knight in a more active square, but it's not like it doesn't win the piece or anything. So here I thought I was not happy with the pin here, and so I thought if I can just get rid of it completely, and then I can put this here without really any issue. Not like this. No. And so yeah, so I took, and once again we're dealing with this pretty strong knight on d4, just like the last game, where knight b5 is always a possibility. But he has queen f5 here. I was more worried about knight f5 just by virtue of I think I have to lose the bishop here because I'm not putting the bishop in f8 because the knight has to go to f8 in these kind of structures, and every other square does not really work. I guess like bishop e5 works here, but I can take those, or I can take the f pawn. The bishop e5 is fine, but it's like strange. I didn't really like the knight being in f5 in my head, but queen f5 pretty obvious what's going to happen. This is why the knight goes to f8 to cover these squares in the Tartakawa. So knight e5. So we can go. So my point was to go here and here, but also to actively cover the bishop from retreating. So if I can take and get the bishop pair. He goes f4, just kicking the knight immediately, and I was fine with that because knight g6 targets the pawn. And yes, even if you go here, I can take this. So I don't have to move the knight until the end, like this, and I win the pawn. And yeah, I mean, like there's black has the 7th rank. But I'm up 2 pawns. It's probably a win for black here. If you don't cover, if you defend this instead, pretty hard to defend actually. If you like here, this pawn hangs as well. Yeah, I'm still up 2 pawns, but you can't really do this because of this, and you probably get chased around. I don't really think. Yeah, I think there you would lose the knight here. If you go here, although you can go here now, I guess. Yeah. Okay. All right. Interesting. Yeah. So anyway, so the f pawn is hanging basically. The f d3. But that gives me enough time. And also the bishops are wide open now. So I thought I had enough time. For a while, I'm also looking at this knight e6 idea, which not really right now, because now it just kind of hangs a piece. But after the knight gets to here, and let's say like instead of g6, I could maybe go here. But if I take, he takes the knight, and gets in. Um, but I thought it was like dangerous, but I didn't calculate all the way. Um, the the threat isn't really there for a bit, and this pawn just hangs. And yeah, you can take this, but I mean, it's so weakening. Like your king is so weak. Um, I mean, yeah, so is mine after this though. So I was worried about a lot of 96 variation. So I pinned the knight to the king. You go h4, try to go h5, get the knight out. To get in. I went a6, which was absolutely nothing. The bishop's going here anyway. I don't really know why I went a6. I think maybe I was thinking about b5 and b4, just dislodge the knight. But it's very slow. So on rook d8, the three pieces on the file, I thought I could, rook d8 is pretty strong. Also, it's supporting, this d4 square if I need to put, or d5 square if I need to put the bishop here for anything. And you have h5, and I could have just gone knight f8. And knight f8 here is fine. There's no mate. There like g4 maybe could happen, but then I just take and I a pawn. If you defend it like this, you're defending. I probably like b5 now, just trying to dislodge everything. There's still some position to play here, but I went bishop c8 instead, because the queen has to can only go here. And he can go back. He can go back to e2 here. Or but I thought this was very bad actually. I thought now maybe there's a way in. I can maybe attack the knight here. Maybe not. Maybe no knight sack. I think you could go here. I just like I'm just losing. But yeah, I mean, I guess after here to knight f8, and I don't know. I think I worried myself a bit too much, but I just threatened to repeat and offered to draw, and we just drew. But I didn't really see a way forward for either of us. Just because it's this gets defended, and maybe I can launch the b pawn forward, but I wasn't really sure what would work here. And so we just drew. So we had a draw in the first round with the black pieces against Aiden, who was like 1850. So I was pretty happy with that. And so yeah, round two. I was playing against Rohan Licht. We had a Dutch, which I played a couple times. I played Mike Brown with the Dutch, which was a tough game. Also the same e6, bishop b4 kind of Dutch, like the classical. But this is very different eventually because we have the fianchetto system. And I know the plans in the Dutch are very simple. You go here, and you go here, and you move the defender, and you win the game. And so I was trying to find like what to do in this kind of position. So I went a4, pairing like bishop a3 and some break on the queen side to undouble the pawns and open the position up. But I had the bishop pair, and so my plan was to use it by opening up the board. So I went a4, knight b7. A5 is also an idea sometimes. If I can open it, then like queen b3 and everything's targeted. Knight b7, bishop a3, knight e4. And so this pawn is hit. And I was torn between queen c2 and queen d3. I went queen d3 in game. Queen c2, I just didn't think was very active. But queen d3 also prepares. I wanted d5 at some point to cut the bishop out of the game. And then they build a strong center with c4 and d5. So I wanted to keep the queen on the file. And then df6 defends the knight. And I saw this idea that I don't know if it's very good, but I went for it anyway. Knight g5. And it's very simple. If you take, I take the bishop. I have both bishops for both knights. And if you don't take, if you feel like e5, then I will take. and I will just sit here. And he tries to kick me out. But it's just, like a very strange but dynamic position. Where basically the whole center can be shut down. And I then probably try to like play like f4 and stuff, and make an attack on the king side with the open f file. Um, but he went knight g4, and I realized that there's no way to defend the f pawn, and like if it I can this fork doesn't work because when you take now the bishop's cut off, so there's no taking it. And so I was kind of like struggling to find a move here. But I went knight h3, which covers the f2 square and prevents the queen from coming through. So I thought it was a pretty clever move. So you went queen h5, and now I just thought I can just play the fork. Um, we talked about it after. There was maybe this idea of queen f3, where if you take this, the queen is hit, and the knight's hanging. I can just take this. And when you take with check, I just take, and come back. And I lose a pawn, but the attack's over, and I can very quickly just break with c5. But I went f3 instead, forking the pieces completely, winning a piece. Because knight f2, and even here I was not sure what to do, because if I take here, then he takes the you need a couple things. If you take the queen, then I take the queen, and I'm just up 2 pieces for the rook with a weird pawn structure. If I take and he takes the nut with check, then takes and here material is even, but his mate threatened, and I have to go d5 now, where he can then win the pawn. And so this also loses the pawn, but then I have a pawn, and we're defending. And yeah, and if I take and there was maybe one other thing, but maybe not, because I think since the queen is hit, I think it's the only two moves. If you go here, you're an idiot, and you lose 2 pieces. So yeah, there was maybe a way to take this pawn, this knight instead. I took and allowed the attack to enter. I didn't think it was very strong. I thought it was just stuck after this. Then I realized that the H pawn can just go, and I have nothing to stop it. Also, this is checkmate, and I can't put the queen here to defend it. So I took the knight, but we looked at it after, and there might be knight h1 defending, where the queen has to go this way, or here, probably here, because if you don't attack the bishop, I take this, and I just win the piece. I win a piece again. Like if you go like here, I just take. Knight h1 was a disgusting. So you have to go queen h2, and then I can go like e5. And you have to move the knight, unless like then it goes like here or something. It's like a wild position. You probably just go like g5 here. I thought the position was insane. Maybe I can even take this and push. It's a little wild, but I didn't think like when I thought about knight h1. I didn't think it was good. I just thought that if a knight's in the corner, I might as well just resign already. As it turns out, it's actually quite strong. D5 threatens to take the knight. You have to move the knight. And if things get bad, this queen can get very stuck. And everything's defended. So I thought this was a crazy position to be in. But I took the knight instead. But I think it's just bad because now everything is just falling apart. D5 shuts out the bishop, and now H5 come. And I desperately try to sneak back and force a queen trade, but he can just get out and target a free pawn. I found a nice idea, E4 to cut off the queen, and then support this. But now if you take, I just go here and box everything out. And if you take with the queen, I just take, you lose the queen. But he went bishop a6 and just found a way to take d3 here. And I thought maybe I could just take the queen and play it like this. But I'm just down 2 pawns, and like it's so hard to break through. You can just push this. Like I have no way to break through anywhere. And this bishop is just so bad. Like I can double up, and then g4 and g5 comes. So I just went queen a3 and let him. Like he went here and I resigned. This is unstoppable, mate. I can go I can go rook e2. And now this is fine. I just lose another piece. This is also a position where I don't think anything after h4. Like what is happening? Although the funny thing is actually, I think h4 doesn't work. But I think after this, the queen gets trapped, and you have to like. I'm down so much 0 now. It doesn't even matter. It's a shame that the queen can be fully trapped and this is not in time. Yeah, so that's a tough round 2 against Rohan. Rohan is very strong. No, it's really struggling to find anything. Knight h1 was a crazy move. I'll have to look at an engine analysis to see if it's functional, but I would not have played knight h1. I feel so bad playing that move. Round 3, was against Matt Collins. I've seen him play before. He was only one of the quad lower rated than me. Not by much. Like 40 points. We had a Slav. Modern Slav with E3, bishop 5. I like the queen B3 line. I've had some success with it. And it's quite annoying for players to find the right moves all the time. And it's just a very consistent slow pressure, which is my kind of style. We get, knight h4 here. I figured getting the bishop pair is nice. Kind of, positional games where you are looking for long-term advantage, the bishop pair is one of those advantages you can get. h3, otherwise I lose the pawn. Bishop e7, bishop d2, castles, and rook d1. And so now I'm threatening to take the pawn. Because if takes, no matter what takes, I can just take this, and there's a tempo on the queen, and the rook's defended. He went 84, which just lets me do that. Obviously, it comes at the consequence of losing out the castle and putting the king in the center. But I win the pawn. And he goes b5, taking space from the queen side while my king is over here. And I just d3 and threaten to take another pawn. Like, yeah, 97. Obviously, trying to get activity, looking at attack on the king while the king's stuck in the center. I just took a second pawn. Because I come back here and I hit this and this, and then what? There's no attack. I'm so fine. And I can just leave. c5, b4, rook ab8, and I just away. King e2. Pawn in the center. But it doesn't matter. I'm up 2 pawns. I can lose this and still be up a pawn. This pawn is also restricting the knight's movement. With b4 kicking the knight, and I think I just started. I don't know why I went for style points here. Queen a4. The checks here are both covered by the queen and the knight, and this check is covered by g4, which then hits the queen with tempo, hits the knight, and the pawn is hanging as well. And that's queen a4, forcing a queen trade. He did not want the queen trade, so instead, drop the pawn again. I'm up 3 pawns. but now there's an issue. Now there's a lot of open lines against my king. Bishop g5, hitting the rook with tempo. For q1. The idea is not to take back with the rook, but then you actually lose the pawn. I was looking at a line where it takes and take here, and you come back. I don't think it's a mate or anything. I think I don't remember entirely if this is a mating pattern. I think it involves the queen coming back, which I can't because of the g pawn here. Maybe it was like no, it's definitely it was material. You can like nah, no, this is stupid. But yeah, so I looking at so the point was to take the bishop instead. If rook takes, you take the bishop, and if you come back to attack it, you just go here, queen of 5, and here, and everything is super defended, and you just push the pawns. Put the rook behind, push the pawns. But he didn't take. He kept material on the board, which obviously you're down 3 pawns. You got to keep material on the board. Look for an attack, and he gets one because rook f8, the pin. I got to get out of the way, and he's ready to swing over here and massacre my king. I went bishop d5, kind of like goading him into this because I thought it was defendable. Because after here, the queen moves and the rook can cover the square and the knight and then rooks can cover and there's never like a threat or anything. So they auto play here and then like c4 defends it. uh, here and exactly that happens. Queen g2, bishop g3, bishop e3, rook b2, rook c8, targeting the weak pawn. If I push it, now I can take this pawn, so I have to go queen g1 first, attacking the bishop, because now I'm out of the pin. You have to leave, and not going to go c4. At this point, I didn't think he could do anything anymore. I thought it was just like attack's over. There's no way through. He went rook e8, looking for a way in this way. But obviously, so I thought after bishop, I thought he should go here instead. Bishop f4, at least covering the escape square, and also preventing queen g3. Because now it's a lot harder for me to find a way forward here. Like maybe it's like queen e4. Well, I thought he should have gone bishop f4, just at least to be more active in covering the escape squares of the king. But bishop f6 I thought was a little slow. C4 rook e8. I offered a queen trade again. Now the queen has to go here if he wants to get out. But if he does that, like this is coming. After my real idea was after this, I go rook b8, pinning this rook, and you have to go to c1. But if you go to c1, this rook is hanging and the queen's hanging, so you can't give the check on c1. You have to just take and and trade off the rook with check, where I can then just I can just come back, and there's not enough material anymore for black to have an attack. But he went rook e1 immediately instead of backing in. I just moved. Like there's no attack, there's nothing, and now the rook is hanging and the queen's hanging, and he defends the queen. If you take like this, obviously I'm taking. I can't take with the king. Or you actually, I would take with the king. Sorry, because now the bishop covers. And it's like, also a very winnable position for me because I win this pawn and I push the passers. Yeah, this is a very interesting game. I was just shocked that he just let me win 2 pawns. It absolutely could have defended. At least I understand, in the center. It's pretty valuable. Like it's probably worth a pawn. Not defending this though was kind of wild. I thought at least like king h8. H4 H5 is a little slow. I need to save the king before I can attack. So I'm just kind of surprised. I guess in this case like a queen c2. Like that, and my king can get out this way after I defend everything. But yeah, he just gave me 2 pawns, and when you have 2 pawns, you just play for endgame, and I just played for an endgame, and I defended the attack and got an endgame where I hung his queen. So it's very weird last round. But yeah, so I won one, lost one, drew one, won an F out of 3. Because of my opponent's ratings, I did gain ratings. I think I went up to like 16-20, which is pretty cool. I'm been very happy with my results recently. Some pretty strong games. So yeah, that was the August quads. I don't know if I'll be able to do another tournament before school starts again. Definitely no more Tuesday tournaments, which sucks. But yeah, until the next tournament, I'll see you then.